Hello everyone, thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. It means a lot. I hope you will enjoy this tutorial. It's the first part where I will teach you how to model this cute mushroom character. This tutorial isn't explained in detail, but if you want to understand it better, you can download the PDF where I explain each part of the tutorial in more detail. Let's begin with modeling. Select the camera and light and delete them with X. Select the cube, go to modifiers, add modifier generate subdivision subsurface. Change levels viewport from 1 to 2. Click right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Rotate the view so that -Y axis will be our front side. Add a loop with Ctrl+R. Press left mouse button to confirm its position, and then press Escape or right mouse button to return it to its original position. Bevel it with Ctrl+B for around 0.244. And before confirming it with left mouse button, add one more segment by scrolling the mouse wheel up and then confirm it with left mouse button. Add one more loop with Ctrl+R, but this time on the other side. Confirm it with left mouse button and press Escape to return it to its original position. Bevel it with Ctrl+B for around 0.402, and because we don't need more than one segment, scroll the mouse wheel down. After that, confirm it with left mouse button. Rotate the view to the front -Y, switch to selecting faces with 3, and select these two faces. Extrude them with E for around 0.64, and extrude them with T again for around 0.48. Switch to selecting edges with 2, and select this edge loop with Alt plus left mouse button. Move them with G+Z for around 0.13. Select this edge with left mouse button. Select the second edge. Select the third edge. And in the end, select the fourth edge. Scale it with S+X for around 0.67. Scale it with S+Y for around 0.77. Switch to selecting vertices with 1 and select these vertices. Move it up with G+Z for around 0.46. Select these 3 vertices and move them down with G+Z for around -0.16. Turn the viewport to the back. Select these 5 vertices and move them up with G+Z for around 0.43. Switch to selecting edges with 2 and select this edge. It's hard to see edges because of the subdivisions modifier, so we will turn it off in the viewport by clicking here on this screen icon. Now we can select the other edge as well. Scale them with S+X for around 0.52. Select this edge, and this on the other side. And scale them with S+X for around 1.16. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and select these 2 faces. Switch from median points to individual origins, and scale them with S for around 0.62. Move it up with G+Z for around 0.17. Turn on the subdivision in the viewport by clicking on the screen icon again. Switch to Object mode with Tab to see how it looks. Switch back to Edit mode with Tab. Switch to selecting edges with 2. Select these 2 edges. Rotate the viewport to the back and select these 2 as well. Select these 2 and these 2. Change from individual origins to median point. Scale them with S+Y for around 1.13. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and select these faces. Move it up with G+Z for around 0.3. Add a loop with Ctrl+R and then scroll the mouse wheel up to add one more loop. Switch to selecting vertices with 1 and select these vertices. And move them up with G+Z for around 0.1. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and select this face. Rotate the viewport to the other side and select this face. Switch from median point to individual origins. Scale it with S for around 0.9. Press Alt+C and choose Extrude Faces along normals. And extrude for around 0.73. Switch to the front orthographic view. Move it with G+Z for around -0.25. Select only this face and return to the front orthographic view and rotate the face with R plus 25 for 25 degrees. Select only this face. Return to the front orthographic view and rotate it with R -25 this time. Select both faces. Press Alt+E and choose Extrude Faces along normals and extrude it for around 0.4. And scale them with S for around 0.53. Move them up with G+Z for around 0.3. Switch to selecting edges with 2 and select these 2 edge loops with Alt plus left mouse button. Switch from individual origins to median point. Scale them with S+X for around 0.87. Switch to Object mode with Tab to see how your character looks. Switch back to Edit mode with Tab and turn off the subdivision in the viewport like you did before. Select this edge and this edge. Scale them with S+X for around 0.87. Turn on the subdivision in the viewport like you did before. Select these two edge loops and scale them with S plus X for around 0.94. Switch to selecting faces and select these two faces. Scale them with S plus X for around 0.93. Move them down with G plus Z for around minus 0.04. Switch to selecting edges with 2 and select these two edges. And these two. Scale them with S plus Y for around 1.15. Switch to selecting vertices with 1 and select these vertices. Move them with G plus Y for around 0.15. And move it down with G plus Z for around minus 0.09. Select these vertices and move them with G plus Y for around minus 0.009. Turn off the subdivision in the viewport and switch to selecting edges with 2. Select this edge and this, and move them up with G plus Z for around 0.05. Turn on the subdivision in the viewport, go to Add, Cube. Move it up with G plus Z for around 2.3. Scale it with S plus Z for around 0.13. Scale it with S for around 2. Add loop with Ctrl plus R. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and select this face. Insert a new face with I for around 0.72. Insert it one more time for around 0.46. Move it up with G plus Z for around 0.38. Insert a new face for around 0.37. And move it up with G plus Z for around 0.2. Switch to Object Mode with Tab, click right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Switch to Edit Mode with Tab and switch to Selecting Edges with 2. Select this edge loop with Alt plus left mouse button. Scale it with S for around 1.08. Select this loop and scale it with S for around 0.9. Move it with G plus Z for around minus 0.11. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and select this whole loop and this. And move it up with G plus Z for around 0.18. Select any face on head and press L for link to select the whole head. Scale it a bit with S for around 1.25. Take this bottom part of a head and insert a new face with I for around 1.4. And extrude it with T for around minus 0.53. Select the whole head again with L for link. Move it down with G plus Z for around minus 0.9. Select this whole loop with Alt plus left mouse button. And move it up with G plus Z for around 0.07. Check out how your character looks in Object Mode and then switch again to Edit Mode. Go to Add Cube, move with G plus Y for around minus 2.7. Scale it with S plus Y for around 0.25. Switch to selecting edges with 2 and select this edge. Move it with G plus Z for around minus 0.54. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and select this face. Move it with G plus X for around minus 0.74. Switch to Object Mode with Tab, click right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Switch to Edit Mode with Tab and select these two faces. Move them with G plus Y for around minus 0.14. Select the whole R with L for link. Switch to the front orthographic view, move it with G to the right, something like this. Scale it with S for around 0.36. Move it up with G to look something like this. Rotate the viewport to the left like this, and move it with G plus Y for around 1.86. Rotate it with R plus Z for around 23 degrees. Scale it with S for around 0.88. Press Shift plus S and choose Cursor to World Origin. Change from median point to 3D cursor. Duplicate it with Shift plus D and press S plus X minus 1. Go to Mesh, Normals Flip. So select the head and press L for linked and move the head down a bit with G plus Z for around minus 0.13. Switch to Object Mode with Tab. Open the sidebar with N, go to Item Dimensions. We want to our character be height around 0.5, so write Z is 0.5. After that, press Ctrl plus C and hover over Scale Z to copy the Scale Z dimensions 0.114 and paste it to both X and Y with Ctrl plus V. Press Ctrl plus A and apply scale. Go to Add, Mesh, Plane. Select your character and change from 3D cursor to median point. Move it up with G plus Z above the plane. Turn on snapping by pressing Shift plus Tab or clicking on that magnet icon. Change from increment to face and snap it with G plus Z to the plane. Press Ctrl plus A and apply location. And you can delete the plane with X. That is it. We are done with the modeling and the next is the texturing. Thank you for following my tutorial and hope you'll enjoy. Bye. See you next time.